Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So, right now we are going through the chapter 3, which is human reproduction, chapter 3 of class 12th NCERT biology. And we have already covered the male and female reproductive system in detail in the two previous videos, right? So, I hope you would have gone through those videos. If not, I would suggest you should go through it once in order to basically learn and understand the rest of the topics. So today we are going to start off with gametogenesis. Now basically in case of males, the primary sex organ is testis that we studied in the previous video, and it produces gamete, which is sperm. In the same way, in females, in human females, ovaries are the primary sex organ, and those produce ovum, which is the female, which has the female gamete, right? So this process of formation of sperm and ovum is known as gametogenesis. So basically this process of formation of the male and female gamete is gametogenesis. So we will study the formation of sperm and formation of ovum both in this video. So we'll start off with spermatogenesis, which is formation of male germ cells or male gametes. So in testis, the immature male germ cell, which is known as spermatogonia, is produced by the process of spermatogenesis. Now, this process begins at the time of puberty, right? So the spermatogonia is present on the inside wall of the seminiferous tubule. So we studied the detailed structure of uh, testis, and I hope you guys remember that. So spermatogonia basically is present on the inside wall of the seminiferous tubules, and they multiply by mitotic division, and they keep on increasing in numbers, right? So let's see this with a diagram. Let's see this with a diagram, right? This is the seminiferous tubule, right? So we'll see this by diagram. We'll keep on labeling it as well. So what I said is that spermatogonia, which in singular is known as spermatogonium, is present on the inside wall of seminiferous tubule, and it keeps on multiplying by mitotic division, and it keeps on increasing in number. Now each spermatogonium is diploid, and that contains 46 chromosomes. Remember that the spermatogonium are diploid, the spermatogonia are diploid, and they contain 46 chromosomes, the total number of chromosomes present in humans. So here if you see this exactly, these cells are nothing but spermatogonia. Okay, now some of the spermatogonia are known as primary spermatocyte, and these periodically undergo meiosis. Remember that they divide by meiosis, and a primary spermatocyte completes the first meiotic division. Remember that meiotic division is a reductional division and mitotic division is an equational division, right? So the primary spermatocyte completes first meiotic division, leading to formation of two equal haploid cells. So now there will be 23 chromosomes in each, right? So in total we had 46, now it will be 23 chromosomes. These spermatocytes are known as secondary spermatocytes, and they have 23 chromosomes each, right? So here if you see, basically these cells are, say, primary spermatocyte. Okay, and these undergo the first meiotic division and form secondary spermatocyte. So remember that these has 46 chromosomes. These also had first. Now the first meiotic division has happened, and they have 23 chromosomes, right? Now the secondary spermatocyte undergo second meiotic division to produce four equal haploid spermatids. So these structures are spermatids. So each secondary spermatocyte undergo the second meiosis, the second meiotic division, and they produce four equal haploid spermatid, right? Now these spermatids are transformed into spermatozoa by the process of spermiogenesis. So by the process of spermiogenesis, these are transformed into spermatozoa, and these are basically the sperms, right? And the process involved is spermiogenesis. Now after spermiogenesis, sperm head the sperm head becomes embedded in the Sertoli cells. These are basically Sertoli cells. They provide nourishment, right? So these, as you can see here, the head of the sperm is embedded in the Sertoli cell, right? So after spermiogenesis, for nutrition, the sperm heads are embedded in the Sertoli cell, and they are finally released from the seminiferous tubules by the process of spermiation, right? So as we said that spermatogenesis starts at the age of puberty due to significant increase of a hormone which is gonadotropin releasing hormone, GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, right? So now if you see, basically these are present in hypothalamus. These are hypothalamic hormone. Now the increased level of gonadotropin releasing hormone acts at the anterior pituitary gland, and that stimulates secretion of two gonadotropins. That does what? So that basically instigate the secretion of two gonadotropins. And what are these gonadotropins? I'll just remove these things from here. And these are one, luteinizing hormone. This is luteinizing hormone. And the second one is FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone, right? Now this luteinizing hormone, they acts at the Leydig cells, and they stimulate synthesis and secretion of androgens, which are again sex hormones present inside the seminiferous tubules, and these androgens in turn stimulate the process of spermatogenesis, right? So these luteinizing hormones acts on androgen, and androgen stimulates spermatogenesis. Now the other hormone, which is follicle stimulating hormone, they act on the Sertoli cells, these cells which are the nourishing cells, and they stimulate what? So they stimulate secretion of some factors which also helps in the process of spermiogenesis, which is formation of sperms, right? So both the hormones which are basically activated by gonadotropin releasing hormone are important. Luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, both of them are very, very important, right? So this is the entire process of gametogenesis or spermatogenesis in the case of males. Now we will also see the structure of the sperm, the developed sperm basically, right? So let's see the structure of a developed sperm. So this is the structure of a sperm, right? So if you see that the structure of a sperm is a basically microscopic structure, it is composed of head. So this portion is nothing but the head, right? Then there is a then there is a neck. So here, if this you see is neck, Then there is a middle piece, right? So this is a middle piece, and the end portion is the tail. Okay, so basically inside that there is a basically plasma, and we have a plasma membrane which envelops the whole body of sperm, right? Now if we talk about the sperm head first, so the sperm head contains an elongated haploid nucleus. So it has a nucleus, okay, and the anterior portion of which is covered by a cap-like structure. So the above of this nucleus is covered by a cap-like structure which is known as acrosome. And the outer covering is what we saw is plasma membrane, right? So plasma membrane to covers the inside. Plasma membrane basically covers the inside structure of the sperm, right? Now this nucleus has the genetic information, right? It contains chromosomal material, right? Now this acrosome region is filled with enzymes that helps in fertilization of the ovum. So basically this region only enters the ovum during fertilization. So it has enzymes that helps in fertilization. Now let's talk about the middle piece. So the middle piece is here. Middle piece has what? Middle piece has numerous mitochondria, which is the energy source. So this provides energy for swimming after intercourse, right? So middle piece possess various mitochondria that produces energy for the movement of this tail, and that facilitates the sperm motility, which is very essential, very important for fertilization, right? So a human male ejaculates almost 200 to 300 million sperms during one intercourse or during a coitus, of which for normal fertility, if you talk about the normal fertility, at least 60% of the sperms have normal shape and size, and out of those 40% of them should show vigorous motility. So 40% of these 60% are motile, right? So these sperms are released from the seminiferous tubules, and these are transported by the accessory ducts. Now secretions of various glands, which were epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicles, and prostate, are essential. So secretions from these glands are essential for maturation and motility of sperms. Remember that. Now they basically provide the seminal plasma. So this seminal plasma along with the sperm, so the seminal plasma plus sperm are basically known as semen. This is known as semen. And the function of male sex accessory ducts and glands are maintained by again androgens, which are the testicular hormones, right? So this is the complete structure and process of spermatogenesis. Now let's go to the female process, which is oogenesis. Let's study that. So basically, the process of formation of mature female gamete is known as oogenesis. It is known as oogenesis. ठीक है? Which is marked very differently from spermatogenesis. Now here oogenesis initiated during an embryonic development stage when a couple of million gamete, which is the mother cells, these mother cells are known as oogonia. are formed within each fetal ovary, right? So you remember that after birth of a female child, as in post birth, no more oogonia are formed. So females are born with the entire oogonia or the mother cell, right? They are not formed after birth of a female child. Now what happens is these cells starts dividing, okay? And first they enter into the prophase 1. Prophase 1 of meiotic division, okay? And they get temporarily arrested at that stage where they are known as primary oocytes. So the first step is that these mother cells are formed within the female female embryo, right? So they are formed initially when the fetus is developing. Now after birth, what happens? These cells start dividing and they enter into prophase 1 of the meiotic division and they form primary oocyte. These primary oocyte are basically kept like that, right? Now each primary oocyte then gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells and they are known as primary follicle. So let's study this as well with the help of diagram, right? So this is an ovary, right? Here if you see what we saw that initially we have mother cell or oogonia and that develops into a primary oocyte, right? Those primary oocytes are then they get surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells, a layer of cells basically, and they are known as primary follicle. So these are primary follicle, right? Now a large number of these follicle degenerate during the phase from birth to puberty. So till the time a female attains puberty, a lot of these cells degenerate, right? So basically, at puberty, only 60 to 80,000, 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in each ovary. And you remember that we have two ovaries, right? So in each ovary, at the time of puberty, there are 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles left. So unlike, the production of or the formation of sperms, which is not limited to a number, the number of the female gamete, which is ovum, is limited, right? Now the primary follicle gets surrounded by more and more layers. It gets surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells and a new theca. And then they are known as secondary follicles, right? So then if you see here, now these are kind of the secondary follicle. So they keep on getting surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells and new theca, and they form secondary follicle. Now, this secondary follicle transforms into a tertiary follicle. So here, if you see, this is the tertiary follicle, right? And this tertiary follicle is characterized by a fluid-filled cavity. So this cavity inside is known as antrum. So this has antrum as the cavity. Now the theca layer is organized into an interior theca and an outer exterior theca. It is important here to see that the primary oocyte within the tertiary follicle grows in size. So here, now if you see here, the oocyte, this is growing in size with time, right? So this is an unequal division which results in a large haploid secondary oocyte. So now from primary oocyte, it grows into secondary oocyte And also there is the tiny polar body. So since it is haploid, there will be two cells, right? From a diploid cell, there will be two cells formed. So one is secondary oocyte and the second one is known as polar body, right? Now the secondary oocyte retains bulk of the nutrient-rich cytoplasm of the primary oocyte, right? And right now the tertiary follicle further changes into a mature Graafian follicle. So the tertiary oocyte, basically, the tertiary follicle matures into a Graafian follicle. Now the secondary oocyte forms a new membrane which is known as zona pellucida, which surrounds it, right? And the Graafian follicle ruptures and it releases the secondary oocyte. So here if you see, the Graafian follicle has ruptured and it has released the secondary oocyte, which is ovum, right? So it has released ovum from the ovary. Now this process of release of ovum from the ovary is known as ovulation. This process is known as ovulation, right? Now here if you see, this ovum is released in the same way sperm is released, right? So this completes the formation of the sperms, which is the male gamete, and the ovum, which is the female gamete. So now in the next video we are going to deal with menstrual cycle. Now here if you see one final diagram, you'll see the entire process of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. And I'll explain it to you once again very quickly. So here you see that you have spermatogonia, right? So you have spermatogonia. First mitotic differentiation, it forms primary spermatocyte. Then the first meiotic different division where it forms haploid spermatocytes, so secondary spermatocytes. Second meiotic division, 4 spermatids, and this differentiates into spermatozoa, right? So from 46 chromosomes, it goes to haploid 23 chromosomes, right? Up here in the other case. So if you see here, this is the fetal life, right? So from it starts from oogonia, which is formed in the fetus itself. Then it forms primary oocyte and it's remained like that. Birth and the first mitotic division happens, right? And it forms this is still at puberty, right? It forms one secondary oocyte and the polar body, right? Then this secondary oocyte forms a secondary polar body and a final ovum which is released out of the ovary. So again here if you see the cell is diploid, it is 46, it has 46 chromosomes, but during puberty when the first division occurs, the first meiotic division occurs and it forms a polar body and the secondary oocyte, it becomes haploid, and then from here again there is a equational division wherein it forms second polar body and ovum, right? And this is released from the ovary, which is known as ovulation. So with this we have finished spermatogenesis and oogenesis both. Guys, do let me know if you have any doubt in both the processes, and I'll again explain it, or you can ask your doubts through the comment section or through the WhatsApp message, and in the WhatsApp number is given in the description of this video. I hope you understood it. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, do not forget to like the video and share it with your friends, and also subscribe to the channel in order to get all the updates of the videos that I'm going to upload in future. Thanks guys. Bye bye.